Alright, so today I'm back with yet another Blue Lock video. However, today I thought about switching it up a bit and trying to go over and rank all of the Blue Lock arcs, starting from the introduction all the way to the neo-egoist league that we are currently in. Now you might wonder, how will you actually rank the arcs, as that's something which is extremely difficult, as the later an arc is, the more the characters have improved and gotten character development. But I will try and rank them purely based on enjoyment, and how much I enjoyed reading it. Of course, I gotta take into account how many important moments there was in a specific arc, and how big of an impact that arc had on the overall series. Now my rankings might totally differ from yours, and if that's the case, then please leave your ranking down below and tell me how you would rank these arcs. However, before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and while you're already down there, you can always leave a like and a comment, and with that out of the way, let's finally get into it. Alright, so this shouldn't come as a surprise, as this arc only has 4 chapters, but my least favorite arc would also be the introduction arc. Now, I'm not saying that this arc was bad, not at all, as it served as a good instruction to the whole concept of Blue Lock, but that was just that. It was impossible to get some huge character development in these 4 chapters, and even though I feel like it's pretty decent, it's nothing more than what you could expect from an introduction arc. They are always necessary, but I've never heard anyone calling it their favorite arc. Some of the best and most memorable moments from this arc have to be when Isagi was the first one to start sprinting into Blue Lock, but also when Isagi absolutely crushed Kira's dreams of becoming something. Alright, so coming up next, I actually decided to put the third selection. The purpose of the third selection was to form a team of 5 and then play against the world-class players. Afterward, Blue Lock's remaining 35 players had to participate in 3 different teams to prove their skills and ability to coexist with the top 6 Blue Lock players, who at that time were Rin, Shidu, Karasu, Otoya, Yukimiya, and Nagi, and then the best 11 players will be chosen to form the Blue Lock 11 to challenge Japan's U20 team. Now this arc was very solid, and I found it really interesting to see some outside players, which helped us realize where the Blue Lock players stood in terms of ability at that time. It also served as a good soft launch for Loki, who once again joined the Blue Lock in the neo-egoist league. The third selection also helped us get to know the remaining players much better, as we were able to see most of them playing, not to mention that we got a clear ranking of the players now that only the strong ones remained. I liked this arc extremely much, as we always had some sort of requirement for it. With that, I mean that the requirement was that only the 11 best players in Blue Lock got to play against Japan's U20 team. This helped me really root for Isagi, wanting him to be able to squeeze into that 11 squad. We have always had some sort of requirement for each arc. For the introduction arc, it was to be the top 300 strikers. The first selection was to score enough points to qualify as a team. And for the second selection, it was to form a team that you could succeed with. Now these are all extremely good requirements, but they are a bit blurry, if that makes sense, like there's no clear pinpoint or number you have to reach as an individual to qualify. And when having that, I feel like it brings out a character much more, as they have to work hard to firstly work together to win the match, but also stand out enough so that they get recognized by ego, which means that they have to be a bit egotistical sometimes. This arc was extremely strong, but the whole point of it was to set up for the next arc, which of course is the U20 arc, and because of that, I don't feel like it was stretched out as much as it could have been. But it was still a really solid arc nonetheless. Some of my favorite moments from this arc have to be when Loki absolutely blitzed through Isagi in the match against the World 5, and also when Isagi really came out shining in his match, where he somehow managed to fool both Rin and Shidu by catching them by surprise and going in between them to score the last goal of the match. This goal didn't only win them the match, but I feel like most of the Blue Lock players gained more respect for Isagi after that goal, as well as it made Ego realize that he needed Isagi for the U20 game. After that comes the first selection arc. In this arc, we had 25 teams divided into 5 sectors to perform a round-robin match, where the top 2 teams of each sector will survive, and the remaining 3 teams will be expelled. However, there is still a chance for the most dominant strikers to succeed, as the striker with the most goals on each team will automatically advance. Now this arc was really intimidating. In the beginning, Team Z was a team that was really struggling. In their first match, they weren't able to do anything and just watched as they were being crushed by Baru. However, because everyone tried to be the main star by themselves and not working together, that tactic might work, as we saw for Baru, but that doesn't apply to every team, as Team Z had to take another route after their tragic loss against Baru. They started to come up with ways to fairly distribute time to everyone to play striker while working together to score goals and win matches. However, even though they won their second match, they faced trouble as one of their teammates soon betrayed them, really showing just how brutal Blue Lock can be. And this betrayal was definitely necessary, because at least I was taken aback by that and really had to see Blue Lock from another point of view, as it wasn't just teamwork that Blue Lock is about, but instead finding the best striker in the world and not the best team. Even though they, in the end, won the match thanks to the GOAT's awakening, the betrayal left me wanting more, as I was so excited when I was reading it and couldn't wait to see what more crazy things were to come in the future. And the last match against Team Nagi in the first selection was nothing short but amazing, as we finally got to see the striker who had been making rumors throughout the whole Blue Lock, as he had scored goal after goal. Even though they pretty easily dominated the match in the start, Team Z pulled themselves together thanks to Bachira's awesome goal, and after that, they were on a rampage after more, which they later did, as they actually managed to change the scores into their favor, and making the homeboy Isagi score the last and most important goal of the match, which left a sour taste in the genius's mouth. What makes this arc special for me is that all of the players were able to get out of their comfort zone and evolve together against everything that they were faced with. My favorite moments from this arc have to be Isagi's first goal against Nico, where he literally left him crying. Chigiri's awakening, when he finally got to show what he went for, as he had kept it a secret before. Kun's betrayal, of course, it was such a plot twist for me at least, and I got so excited after seeing it. Last we have Isagi's last goal against Team Nagi, which was just spectacular. Now the arc to get the bronze medal will be the second selection arc. Now this arc was actually crazy. We start off with one of the most insane betrayals of the series, as Nagi just completely leaves Rio, saying that he needs to play with Isagi after their latest game. After that, they get right into a game against Rin, where Rin comes out easily on top, showcasing who Isagi's rival will be. After Rin had picked Bachira from Isagi's team, it was time for Isagi and Nagi to lock in, so they went up against Baru and Naruhaya. And even though it was an extremely close game, Isagi was just a bit better than Naruhaya, so he came out on top. They later picked Baru as he scored their 4 goals, while Naruhaya scored none. After that, it was time to revisit Rio, who has gotten company from both Best Boy and Kunigami. Here, it was a close game, but Team Isagi was just one step ahead and managed to snatch away the match. As they won, they got to choose a player from Rio's team, and the lucky man was none other than Chigiri, who got to join them, leaving Kunigami and Rio alone. After that, it was time for Team Isagi to get their rematch against Rin and try and take back Bachira. And this game was both-sided in the entire match. Everyone on each team had chemical reactions with each other left and right, and Isagi was evolving at a rapid pace. However, unfortunately, he in the end lost against Rin due to just simple luck. However, as he played incredible in this game, there was no way that Rin was going to let him go, so he chose Isagi to team up with them and also reunite Isagi and Bachira. In this arc, the Blue Lock players really had to put their own egos and interests above the others, because when you beat another team, you get to take one of their players and add them to your own team. And because of that, you had to be smart with who you picked, so even if you have a former teammate, you might need to pick the other character, which is exactly what happened to Naruhya when Isagi and Nagi picked Baru over him and also ended his dream for good. But that was the only way they could have done it, because if they chose Naruhaya, then they would probably lose the next game and be back to square one. I also really liked how Isagi didn't beat Rin at the end, as it sets up Rin as one of the later antagonists of the series. Anyway, some of my favorite moments from this arc have to be when Isagi completely dogged Baru and told him to just pass in Isagi in the future, which really shattered Baru before he had his comeback in that very same game. I also absolutely love it when Rin and Isagi evolved so much in their second match that Bachira started to feel like he was falling behind. That scene was so emotional and held so much passion, which he later showed by trying and going absolutely crazy on the field, and he would have scored if it wasn't for Isagi. Lastly, there's just something about Rin's last goal and how close Isagi's team was to winning, which I love. Now the arc that takes the silver medal for me has to be the Neo-Egoist League arc. And I know what some of you might be thinking, and yes, the Neo-Egoist League arc isn't over just yet. And why not wait to do this video until this arc is over so that I can properly rank them? Well, that would have been good, but I just didn't have the willpower to wait. Also, it's only the ending of the Neo-Egoist League part that's missing, and I know that it's the most important one. But with the Neo-Egoist League having almost doubled the chapters the U20 arc had, I feel like it's fine. So the Neo-Egoist League is the second phase of Blue Lock, where we see Blue Lock turn into a massive entertainment project with the sole purpose of further training its players for the U20 World Cup. U20 level teams from Germany, England, Spain, Italy, and France are brought to Blue Lock, and each Blue Lock player must choose a country they want to train under and then put their skills to the test in a highly dynamic tournament. The top players during this final selection will be chosen to play in the U20 World Cup. Now, I don't even know where to start as this arc has been filled with so many crazy things. Let's start with the Bastard Munchen vs FC Barcelona game. For context, Bachira had chosen FC Barcelona, while Isagi had chosen Bastard Munchen, but was, unfortunately, a bench warmer until he later got subbed into the game. Now I won't explain what happened in the game, but instead the outcome and score of the match. If you want to check out a video where I go over the entire match, then I will leave a link to that match and all the other matches down in the description. Anyway, the final score was 3 goals to Bastard Munchen and 2 goals to FC Barcelona. Kunigami, Kaiser, and Noah scored for Bastard Munchen, while Bachira and Lavinho scored for FC Barcelona. After that, it was time for Bastard Munchen to face Manshine City, where Nagi, Rio, and Chigiri played. However, the outcome was extremely similar to the last game, as Bastard Munchen won with a 3-2 score. The players who scored a goal for Bastard Munchen were Yukimiya, Kunigami, and Kaiser, and for Manshine City, it was Chigiri and Nagi. Swiftly moving on, we have the Ubers game where Baru plays, and believe it or not, it ended in the same score with Bastard Munchen winning with a 3-2 lead. And for Bastard Munchen, we had Isagi, who mind-blowingly managed to score 2 goals, and also Kaiser, who scored 1. And Baru decided to match Isagi, so he also scored 2 goals for the Ubers, which unfortunately wasn't enough in the end. Now I don't know if I need to go into detail on what is good with this arc, as there are just so many things, everything from seeing the different clubs interacting with each other, getting to know different new Gen 11, and not to mention seeing the insane masters coming out on the pitch and playing is just wild. I also think that this helped the Blue Lock players out massively, as they got the taste of a lot of different football styles, which will help them evolve in their own right. Not to mention just being able to get coached by the top 5 players in the world must be a crazy experience, and we can definitely see that from Isagi as he's grown so much in this arc. From getting manhandled by Kaiser to being able to rival him is just insane. My favorite moments from this arc have to be when Chigiri scored his Pink Panther goal against Bastard Munchen, because that was wild. Everything from the lead up to that goal, and also the goal in itself, was wild. After that, I have to say Nagi's 5-stage volley, which not even Kaiser was able to predict. And then, when Isagi absolutely dogged Kaiser in the Manshine City match and called Kaiser a clown, which got me goosebumps if I'm honest. However, I'm sure that this will change as we finish the last game in this arc, which is the PXG vs Bastard Munchen match, where it's currently 1-1 with Isagi scoring for Bastard Munchen and Shido for PXG. Anyway, with that said, it's pretty clear what my number 1 pick is, and it's of course, the amazing and spectacular U20 arc. The Blue Lock 11 will face the Japan U20 in a national representative match for the chance to secure control of the Japan national team and show their skills to the world. But with Saitoshi leading the team and Ryusei Shido joining him, how will Blue Lock overcome this immense challenge? Now this arc was just insane, which is the reason why I had to put it in the first place. The amount of build-up for this match has been crazy to this point, as ever since the start of the second selection, this has been what the Blue Lock players have been striving and fighting for good reason as well. Because one of the reasons why I had such an enjoyable moment while reading this was because of the stake that this match had. Because if you think that this match was just for fun and games, then you're wrong, as the entire future of Blue Lock was determined in this match, because if the Blue Lock 11 lost, then it was bye-bye to everyone. And I think that's what made it interesting as I read the full arc when every chapter had already been published. So I was blitzing through it, but every time someone scored, made a good save, or made a pass, I started wondering if this was really going to be the end of Blue Lock. But then every time that Blue Lock scored, I regained hope again. But it was the insane thrill I had while reading it that made it so enjoyable. Might be a bit biased, but also seeing the growth and storyline between Rin and Sei in that game was so interesting. From when we got their insane flashback in the halftime, to when Rin went absolutely flow mode and was hunting for Sei's blood. And that's also one of the things I'm looking forward to the most in the U20 World Cup. Just seeing how Sei's and Ryan will manage to coexist with each other. As I said for the arc beforehand, I won't go into detail about the goals, as that would just be kind of dragging it, I feel like. However, if you want to check it out, then look in the description. However, with that said, I will say what the final scores of this game was, and also say the goals in order. So Sei started it off with scoring the first goal for the U20. After that, Nagi scored his incredible goal and made it even. However, it didn't stay even for long, as Rin soon after scored another goal for the Blue Lock 11, which put them in the lead. but after halftime, the U20 team decided to put Shidu into the game, the next 2 goals belonging to him, which put the U20 team in the lead again. However, the Blue Lock 11 had a weapon of their own as they put in Baru, who scored by deflecting Isagi's light, and with that goal, it was even. However, to seal it off, Isagi decided to pull off a wonder goal and score my favorite goal of the series, while also bringing the game to an end. And the relief I felt after Isagi scored that goal was insane, because after Ego's speech on the benches about how the discontinuation of Blue Lock wouldn't be such a big deal, and that he has already done his job, when he said that, I was honestly questioning if Blue Lock was going to shut down or not. Anyway, some of my favorite moments from this arc have to be Sei's incredible corner shot, where he showed everyone why he's such a big deal. After that, I have to admit that I loved Baru's goal, and how he was able to find Isagi's light and crush it to score his own goal, one of my favorite goals from his, if I'm honest. After that, we of course have Isagi's last goal, which was just mind-blowing. However, the best part of this arc was when Isagi confidently announced that he would be the one to lead the Blue Lock 11 to victory in the upcoming U20 World Cup. That moment still brings me chills every time I read it. Anyway, these have been my rankings of every Blue Lock arc. I hope that I didn't upset you too much with my rankings, and that they are somewhat reasonable. However, if you have a different ranking, then please feel free to leave it down in the comments. I also hope that you liked this video, as it was a bit of a different one. But I can almost 100% assume that you like Blue Lock, so I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel. And, while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.